Ladies and gentlemen, we've made it to week 16. And boy, do we have something incredible to share with you guys today. Wait until you see these lineups after the jump. Joe, play the music. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Tilt Space. Please cancel this show. Cancel it. Leone, can you say something so offensive that the show gets canceled?
I probably could, but I'm not willing to do that though. You
Joe
know,
Holka, why aren't you still playing pond hockey? That seems like the play.
I mean, that was way more fun than watching our lineups. It was a really fun, I guess, first 5 minutes of the slate, and then after that, it was not near as fun. So, yeah, it's all right, I guess. We'll just continue to push through this show and try and give people some information, I guess. I don't know. I don't even know what we did with late swaps. You guys did most of those today, so how are those going?
That's what people tune into this show for, is information. I don't know. Let's at least set the table. So we played the game changer this week, $1,500, and then we did the power sweep, the 150 max. Normally we're in the juke, the $400 3 max, but times are getting a little tough, guys. We had to save a few shekels here. Leone, we are 1.3x min cashing in the power sweep, so it's not all
watch
lost.
out. Not a total loss, boys. Only minus 90%. I'm at the point where I almost want my players to do poorly so I can just tilt about it more. Like, it'd be more tilting for me if they did well enough that I couldn't totally tilt. I don't even know. It doesn't even make sense to me. That's just the point of dejection I'm at. I don't know why, but this week really hit me hard. Like, I scaled back my play and it's still it's really tilting me. I feel like I did some dumb stuff. I feel like I did some smart stuff that didn't work out. Just some sort of combination of those two things. And it's been a long season, as you tweeted, Peter Overset. It's been a long season. I'm ready for some playoff DFS. I'm done with the regular season.
So Joe Holka, the lineup we played in the game changer, we were cashing our Skolansky bucks here. Lamar Jackson, 5%, Mark Andrews, 4.3%, Marquise Brown, 2.8%, Darius Slayton, the prayer yard king on the bring back, 4.3%. I thought we were off to a great start. Marquise Brown scores on that first drive. And then Mark Andrews proceeds to drop 2 touchdowns later in the day. And then we never really had a prayer because all of the chalk got there. We were kind of doing our victory laps. We faded that Chiefs KC game. And then every single bit of chalk just slowly got there. The chalk in 2020, fellas, is inevitable.
I think it was about a minute left in the KC first half, and things looked so good. Kelsey was really owned and had like 4 points. Montgomery had like nothing. There was somebody else. T. Higgins was at 5 to 6 points, and we felt really good. Then Kelsey scores at the very end of the first half. Okay, whatever. Second half, T. Higgins goes nuts. Brandon Allen over 10 yards per attempt on the day. Just like it was drawn up. And David Montgomery doesn't do amazing, but he goes from 3 DraftKings points to 19. There was this one chalky cash game lineup I saw that had, 20-ish points combined from like 4 or 5 players at halftime. And then I checked it at the end of the second half and it was up to almost 80 points. So it was a tale of 2 halves. So we were defeated before even a lot of our guys started. And the games that were on late haven't gone great. I was really on the Antonio Gibson play, and I feel like in an alternate universe, it could have been a really good play. He came out, ran the ball really well the first couple drives, but Dwayne Haskins is just so freaking bad that they got behind and, lights out for him based on game script.
Yeah, Dwayne Haskins out of the game right now, by the way. Joe Holka, do you want to dunk on Leone and I? Because this morning you floated the David Johnson play and we both kind of recoiled at it, but I could tell you liked it and you were clearly right on that one.
Well, I mean, it's hard to victory lap something that I didn't have enough conviction to change your guys' mind, I guess. I played him on like 3 of my 4 teams on early only, which was fine, but still, like, the Lamar teams ended up getting passed by the Watson team. So, I mean, it was basically just like it was a decent cash, but I had way more action on the main slate this week. It's kind of how it worked out with my contest. So, not great overall. My swaps are also not going great. So yeah, I don't know. There's really not a whole lot. I thought the play was fine. I thought that David Johnson was probably a little bit overpriced, if anything, but there was a couple teams that it just made a lot of sense to do mini stacks with him and Deontay on the other side. So I kind of fell into those. I guess in general. No, actually, no, it wasn't Deontay. Who did
it was probably
it was T.
Higgins.
Yeah, so it was T. Higgins and David Johnson. The other one that we were talking about was Deontay and Taylor mini stack. So both of those ended up getting there. But man, I'm confused. Like, what even won everything at 1 p.m.? Was it the Watson stacks? Like, if you didn't have Cooks, you were basically dead, right? It felt like it was like that close.
I mean, there's the team winning the power sweep right now that is a Watson triple with 2 Bengals bringbacks, and that's on the all day slate. So, yeah, I think that must have been it. It's always tough for me. You know, T. Higgins, I think, ended up at ETR, our number 1 wide receiver value, and I didn't play him anywhere because I'm not playing a chalky kind of mid-tier wide receiver tied to Brandon Allen. And I don't know that it's always painful when someone you project well does well and you don't play them for game theory purposes, which I think, you know, I think if you were going to play it the way you played it made sense though. You know, you correlated it. The game went nutty. I was saying to you guys, I was tilting in our Discord chat all half. I was like, this game is going way too fast. I mean, that game was going back and forth and back and forth. And you get a game like that, you really start to see where the correlation comes through, because that could have been even, that could have hit even more if, you know, the Samaje Perine TDs go to, you know, AJ Green and T. Higgins and Giovanni Bernard. Like, that game could have really popped off. I think Gio got there without even scoring.
I'm curious, Mike, was because I know I was listening to you and Dink talk, and Dink had mentioned, you know, really targeting the Texans a lot this year and mentioned that game. Did he stay on it, or did the ownership get him off of it, kind of like what happened to us?
I think the ownership got him off it. Sorry, I'm looking off screen because I'm trying to check on my other screen because what he yeah, I think the ownership ended up getting him off it. So you know,
Yeah.
disappointing
That
for
was one
him.
of those where I think early in the week, like when I had looked at my stuff on, it must have been Friday or something, I was like, man, Watson looks like an awesome play again. And then this morning it like flipped and Lamar's ownership had plummeted and Watson's had gone up. And so I was like, all right, I guess I'm on Lamar and not Watson anymore.
And I think one of the things we did well early in the year is sometimes we played some chalkier games if we really thought the ceiling was there. And for me this week, you know, I wasn't on Houston, Cincinnati all that much, but Dallas, Philadelphia, I was really on, and kind of wish I would have figured out some things a little bit more in that game. I did play on my main team, Hertz, Goddard with CD Lamb coming back, but I think with Dallas, they run so many plays and they complete so many passes when they go off. I guess we just haven't seen them go off with Dalton. Um, and one of the points I was making to Dink on our show too was there's been a few times this year where something we thought would happen didn't happen for a few weeks and everyone got off it, and then it happened. You know, we saw it with Ridley with Julio out. It was, you know, you can't play Ridley with Julio out because the whole offense sucks, and then Ridley goes nuts for 2 straight weeks. For this week, you know, you had it with Cooks to an extent. You know, you can't play, or when Fuller first got out, it was got to play Cooks, and then he has 2 off games. It's like, oh, it's not happening. Boom, now it happens this week. And I think the Dalton thing was something that when Dak first went down, we still thought this could be a pretty successful fantasy offense because they do run a lot of plays and Dalton's semi-competent. And here we are, and 3 pass catchers have gotten there for Dallas. You know, all 3 have paid off their price tag already, with Gallup providing massive profit.
Yeah, one of the things that I was looking at just with ownership and stuff, like Pete, we talked about this on the Line Movement show today. Like, where would Parham's ownership be like at the low stakes versus the higher stakes? So he was like 11%, 7% in the Millionaire Maker, and then you look at like the 3K, he's like 21%, right? So a pretty big difference on him. Melvin Gordon was 52% in the 3K, he was only 22% in the Millionaire Maker. So there was a bunch of those type of plays this week that just didn't quite get there, but. I don't know, man. I think one of the most surprising things, and maybe not too surprising, people get scared of those hamstring injuries, but did you guys think there would be that big of a disparity between Travis Kelce ownership and Tyreek Hill ownership? Because like no one played Tyreek. He was like 15% across the board.
No, in the Thunderdome, Tyreek Hill was 8%, so he was on 2 of the 25 teams, and Travis Kelce was 72%. Obviously, small sample, there's only 25 teams in that, but it did end up somewhat indicative of what happened across the industry. I know at ETR we lowered our Tyreek Hill projection and it made Kelce a better value, but not by a ton. So I was surprised. Had I known, I honestly probably would have played Tyreek, and he seemed like he was fine. I mean, he came out, had a bunch of catches early. He didn't end up getting there because, Kansas City just didn't really get there, and the chalk Kelce ended up hitting over Tyreek. But I was pretty surprised, and it feels like we're getting to a meta point in DFS. The latter half of this season has been particularly hard where, sometimes when there's an obvious GPP pivot, it does end up obvious and everyone, does it to an extent. So I think this week, the obvious GPP pivot was, as you were constructing your teams, was, don't play Tyreek Hill and Calvin Ridley, just build otherwise. And even Ridley didn't end up as chalky as I thought he would be. He was like average chalk, not big chalk.
Yeah, I am honestly stunned about that because with the value opening up with the Chargers wide receivers, Parham, there was some other good value plays as well. I know over at ETR, you guys had pushed up Chenault a little bit. I thought everyone was going to go studs and duds because it actually didn't become that hard to do the premium chief stack, even with Ridley, if you wanted to punt it off at a few spots. So yeah, that was a weird shift. Actually, I do have to circle back on this because I have a funny story on this. Leone, people want to see your full shirt here. The Josh Allen
That
experience.
is incredible.
So here's my story, Leone. So I had asked Joe for his address, and Leone, I had acquired your address, and I was going to send you guys a little something. I bought you that shirt, Mike, and it still hasn't got to my house yet.
Come on.
And I was waiting for that to get the packages that I could send out to you guys. So I have a Josh Allen experience shirt on my way to my house. And then I see you log on this morning and I was like, shit.
No way.
Because I saw you post that store and I knew you were gonna buy like something. And I was like, you need to buy this shirt when I found it. And I didn't think you'd actually do it.
You shouldn't have told me. I needed to buy it.
I know. So I'm gonna still send you, and then you can have 2 of these shirts. You can give them to another Buffalo Bills friend or turn it in for another Bills shirt if you'd like.
You're
That's
too
amazing.
kind, Peter. I tried. Well, I was like, when you said that, I was like, Rachel, get me this shirt for Christmas. and then I was hoping it got here before the DraftKings final last week because I wanted to wear it the morning of the DraftKings final when Wiggins and I did Wake and Rake, but it didn't make it in time.
There you go. Well, there you go. Yeah, that
awesome.
store. I think they're having all kinds of shipping errors, but we won't get into that stuff. Joe, tell us about pond hockey.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great time to get outdoors, trying to just so here's the thing. If you're going to fade like the most, I guess, like by far the highest total on the slate, or at least team total on the slate, I didn't want to watch Mahomes just go off at 5 touchdowns. It didn't even happen. So I was all happy out there on the ice, go back and look at my teams like, oh, okay, cool. Like looks like Hollywood's getting there. Looks like Lamar's having a decent outing. He's like 2% in all the small field stuff. So I was feeling great. And then I came back after like kind of the 1 p.m. slate was kind of wrapping up to look at late swaps, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. That nice little 6-figure score is no longer a 6-figure score. It's actually going the other direction. So that's not ideal, man. It's not what you want.
Yeah, but Joe, this is why I hate myself on Sundays sometimes, is because I devote so much time and energy into watching these games all day and just getting pissed off. And when it goes well at the end of the day, it feels like a worthwhile investment.
Yeah.
When it goes poorly, I kind of wish I had just gone and played some pond hockey.
I normally do that for the record. I need to like get better about just like literally, like you said, like it's all week. It's week 16, man. I got to get away from the computer at times, especially on a slate like this where it's just, I don't know. It's maybe it was bad, but I had to get some pond hockey in, man. I haven't been out in so long. I just feel like that it's a good activity. Just not think about football for a second. Sometimes that helps the lineup. So sometimes not. I can't be like, if I'm here, I'm watching my teams. I am not Pete. I can't just like not watch my teams all day long. So I have the highs and the lows for sure. But yeah,
I don't know how you do that, Peter.
it's insane.
Or no, Joe. You mean Joe, right?
Pete, how do you not watch your teams?
Don't look at the contest.
Oh yeah, no,
You're out of your
I
mind.
hate looking at my teams. Yeah. Because I've said it before. It's a watch pot doesn't boil thing, and I've created this labyrinth of games inside of my head where I like pulling up my CSV file and seeing which player I have on which team without seeing the actual scoring.
Did you not have the DraftKings app on your phone?
No, I do.
You just never open it on a Sunday. You're out of your mind.
Not until it's time to do some late swaps. And then I start to look at stuff and know where I'm at. But for the first 3 hours, you will not catch me dead looking at any scoring.
That takes a lot of self-control. Are you curious about like ownership and stuff like that? Or are you just like pure CSV to look at that kind of stuff?
No, I just don't. And like the other thing we do is because we'll look at the ownership for our contests and we'll talk about them here. But then I do my review show on Monday and I kind of like looking at it fresh on Monday to where I haven't like already gotten out. Like I like being able to pull it up on Monday and be like, what the hell? Donald Parham was only 6%. What am I doing? You know, if I have a lot of time to chew on it. So I don't know. I have lots of weird justifications for why I am the way I am, but it is just what it is.
Do you guys know who the 2 leading passers in terms of yardage are this year? Or not this year, today?
Today,
I do. It's because I have it up and I'm cheating. So go ahead, Pete.
I'll take 2 guesses. I will say it's Andy Dalton and Brandon Allen.
You are correct.
Yes. See, why do you need a box score when you have this beautiful brain right here?
Peter, can I take a victory lap on an old though? Speaking of passing leaders, you got in my DMs as soon as I tweeted in the offseason that Tom Brady would finish top 5 in passing yards and passing TDs. And here we are.
What's he at?
He's top 5 in both, that's for sure.
Did he get there yesterday?
I think he was already there heading into yesterday.
Mm.
So I think that kind of locked it up as far as
what did I say? Was I really incredulous or was I an asshole? I don't even remember what I said.
No, you weren't an asshole. You wanted to bet me and you wanted
asshole.
and you wanted, but we didn't end up betting because you wanted like a 50-50 bet on him doing both. And I was like, no.
What was the other thing?
It was top 5 in passing yards and top 5 in passing TDs. Like you weren't giving me any odds whatsoever on it. So then you called me Davis, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but it sounds like I went full Davis with that kind of betting negotiation there.
Yeah, it does feel like that. I mean, I could be remembering this wrong, but let's just assume I'm correct.
Yeah. The funny thing is I ended up drafting a decent amount of Brady and best ball just because of their schedule at the end of the year. They had one of the better playoff schedules. What are you sweating right now?
No, I was just saying, like they played Detroit, the Falcons, and in Minnesota the last 3 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
It was a cake schedule. And I think he's a guy that I think these pure pocket passers are a little bit more, they swing on matchup a little bit more. I don't have any evidence for that, but that's just kind of my off the cuff take. And it feels that way with Brady. I mean, we've seen him play some awful games this year against tough defenses, but against the bad defenses, it just seems like his skill players are too good and he gets there.
Like Matt Ryan has been similar too, right? Where he's just like crushed in the really good spots, generally at home, bad pass defense, and then he goes nuts and is kind of a paper tiger elsewhere.
Yeah.
Judging by the amount of season-long takes right now, I'm scared to ask, but where's the bankroll right now? I actually don't think we've actually like told people that. I've been just saying it's around 40K. I assume it's much lower now after these last few weeks.
The bankroll is at 35K.
That's actually better than I thought.
Roughly.
Better than I thought. So we punted half of the profit
we'll
back.
See. Yeah. Well, more than I mean, our profit was pretty high there for a while, Joe.
Yeah, well,
You know,
we,
but
we thought we were gonna get another bank.
at one point the chat started yelling dome, and we just had to play the Thunderdome.
We played a couple of those Mega
For-
Millies. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
we
don't know.
said we weren't gonna play the Mega Millie, and then it was posted, and we quickly played the Mega Millie.
Pete, you were supposed to keep us on the rails with game selection.
I know.
You said you would do that, and all it took was one show where Leone and I were ripping on you a little bit for being a nit, and then you're the first guy in. Hey, we got to play the 1500 this week, right?
This is what happened. We 50K, and Peter was like, "I'm not chasing anything less than 50K ever again." That's what happened. We did kind of plan all along, though, if there wasn't going to be a contest like that 1500 milli, where like we want to play stuff like that. I think where we could have dialed it back was weeks like this, where maybe we didn't have to play like we could have just played the juke, times 3. But it is kind of boring to do that.
Honestly, have no regrets. I think I probably didn't need to play the Thunderdome. Like I would have rather played the luxury box or something with a bigger prize up top. But everyone chanted dome, and so we did it. But
yeah, at least we played the Thunderdome the week that Dak snapped his ankle in 3 pieces, so that was great.
Yeah. But yeah, I honestly don't have regrets about our bankroll management. I mean, I joke around about sweat equity and entertainment equity, but again, like we're gunning for winning, 6 figures, 7 figures live on this show. So you got to take some shots to do that. And the fact that we were able to do that, take those shots while still remaining profitable, to me is a pretty damn good year.
Well,
no, I agree with that. It hurts to just look at it to see how much we were up, but we could play what we did this week. We could play it next week. We could play it all the playoff weeks, and if we got absolutely trounced, like we'd still end up on the year. So, but that's part of it. You gotta take some shots. So I think next week we should tone it down. Week 17, I think these playoff slates that first playoff slate is going to be really good. I bet they have some really good contests. There might be a really high stakes contest we want to play that week. So I think it makes sense for us to play conservatively next week. So that way, if there is like a 4K or something crazy and we want to play it, we can still justify playing it with our profit.
I told Mike this, and I don't know if you saw in the chat, Joe, but I'm exclusively playing cash games next week. And true? It's not even a joke.
That's true.
I am becoming a cash game grinder for week 17. I'm getting my schedule lined up. I will have more details about this either tomorrow and Tuesday. But I'm handing in my GPP Bro card. It's time to become a cash game grinder. So we can figure out what that means for the tilt space. I'm going to try to get us in $1,000 double up or something like that. But we'll figure it out.
That would be fun. Yeah. So we're not going to play GPPs next week. Where this is where we're at.
Dude,
I haven't played a cash game in like 3 years in the NFL.
All right, well, I mean, you guys got to do what you want to do, but I've seen the light, and cash games are where it's at.
I like this. Who are we playing against? Are we playing against Chris Neville in a head-to-head, 5K head-to-head?
Wait, can I get a head-to-head?
Yeah, Chris, can we do a head-to-head with Chris?
I don't know if he's in the chat right now, but I think he'd take our action.
You take a 5K?
Maybe.
Let's do a tilt space 5K against Chris.
That'd be fun.
Let's do it rake free at least, though, guys.
Yeah. Well,
let's not let DraftKings.
I'll put the feeler out there.
How much rake is on a head-to-head 5K?
Isn't it 5%?
It's $300.
That is outrageous.
Yeah. Well, I thought we were cashing the power sweep. I can't even find our lineup, so
I don't. Maybe we're not cashing it anymore because I tried to look too.
No, we're cashing.
Are we?
I think this contest is so big we can't go all the way down.
We're cashing for 225.
Nice. Solid.
And we've got Woods going. We've got Gallup going, Eckler, and Miles Sanders. So, I mean, that team should stay cashing. Cole Kmet, no dice.
Don't talk about Cole Kmet.
Pete, you didn't even mention that you wanted us to play Sterling Shepard on that Lamar stack, by the way. And
no, I didn't want it. I had Slayton in my lineup. I just thought it was a conversation between those two.
Yeah.
What did Shepard end up with points wise?
22.
That'd have been nice.
But I mean, that's like top 10 at the position.
Yeah.
Kind of a gross wide
Um,
receiver week
Dude, this
outside of like
entire
Cooks and
slate
Gallup.
was so gross, dude. Just so gross. I'm so glad I
Robinson
scaled back
was
my
good.
volume.
Wait, did we cash our showdown teams last week?
Oh, Joe comes with the jokes.
Oh, Joe.
I never heard what happened with those.
Dude, our teams were so bad.
Those were,
What do you
the
mean?
second we built them, we literally just punted off. What was it? $360?
I offered
know,
to do
we
it on
like
my
gold-
account.
We like Golden Tate captain, and I mean things didn't go well.
Oh,
Oh,
my
man.
goodness.
Oh my God, Jalen Hurts checks down to Zach Ertz on 4th and 15. That's a tough scene. Guess what? Did not make it to the line. Did not get there.
Oh, someone just did I just saw for the first time
You've got Eckler.
Who?
Sorry.
Jesus.
Leone's at the point of the day where he's tilting chalk that we pivoted off of.
Is there what do you think the odds are if we like pick a fight with like the Swolecast boys or someone like that? Like, I know you're on the Swolecast, Pete, but pick a fight with some other show to do a head to head. Is there like another
those
show?
donkeys? I mean, we'd be super plus EV.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will.
What's the show that Davis and those guys do?
The Gilcast.
The
I'm going
Gilcast.
on that next Sunday as part of my cash game week.
Oh, so that's what it is. I was gonna say we should pick a fight with them for a head to head. They're the cash game grinders versus the GPP elitists. I guess.
You guys. I mean, I'm.
So you're no longer on the tilt space next week. No. Is that what you're saying? Me and Leone are building teams?
I mean, I'm on this goddamn show. I built this show brick by brick, Joe.
So are Joe and I building the GPP lineups, just the two of us then?
Yeah. I mean, I'll probably still take a stake, but I don't make GPP lineups anymore, guys.
Wouldn't that be something if we banked and we told you sorry, Peter, you were out that week?
No, I mean, it's even worse if I do have a piece and you guys bink, because then they're like, oh, we got rid of the dead weight.
No. Pete, it's a brand new season next week. It's your tax obligation's over, so Pete doesn't want in anymore. He's out. He's got to lower down the stakes again until we get another bank.
That's the other thing people don't realize. I mean, every time we lose, right? I saw he's like the DFS tax accountant guy. I started following him on Twitter. He said something like, you're only losing like 2/3 of your money for every dollar you lose of your winnings. So, I mean, in a lot of ways, I think what we're doing is sharp.
So what I don't get about that is, doesn't that work the other way though? Because even if you win money, you're gonna have to pay tax on it. So but
then you don't care because you just won money and you played above like with normal stakes.
I've never really understood. Like, I understand it, I guess, if you get into a higher tax bracket and then like if you lose, maybe that money would have been taxed at a higher rate, that portion of it. But I often see people say, oh, I'm having a good year, I can enter more contests. If I write it off, it factors in that it's not as big of a deal because of the tax implications. Ooh, JD McKissick touchdown.
It 100% matters though how much of that is like your actual income, and if exactly what you said. If you're going to get to that next tax bracket, you might as well fire at that point because that's a huge disaster.
Yeah, I guess like my point is, from day one, if you're going to win, you're going to have to pay taxes. So from day one, you're fighting that battle. So I don't know, I know there's some plus expected value you can eke out of that, but I think it's overrepresented by people.
I kind of like the suggestion by J-Dags. I don't know how we would pull it off because I would want it to be actual tilt space listeners, but he said you should run a spy lineup drafted by the chat for week 17, Google form, and play the highest percentage of players entered. I tried that on I forget what show I was doing this weekend, where I let the chat drunkenly, or I was drunk, but build a Millie lineup, just shouting out plays, and whichever plays I heard first. Ended up having to get rid of like 3 Browns players that didn't play today, but otherwise I think it was a great success. Yeah, I'm excited. This is my first year I'm going to receive a 1099 from DraftKings. I didn't even know what those were.
Hell yeah. Let's go, Pete.
Can't wait to explain to my accountant what all this newfangled
not a fun combo.
Misses.
Not a fun combo.
That one's easy. Like, just a straight 1099 is easy.
Yeah.
But when you start getting into like more complicated stuff. If you want to be able to write things off, then it becomes a little bit difficult if you want to write losses off on a year or something.
Don't
Do you think I
bother
can?
saying anything about crypto to your accountant. He will have no idea.
Oh, I am not. Well, here's the thing. I don't ever cash out or sell any of my crypto,
Yeah.
so it's easy.
Pete, you
Ethereum, boys, it's next.
Are
Man,
you an Ethereum head?
I don't know what I'm doing. I have BTC and Ethereum,
I
but
actually have a little Ethereum too.
I got a lot of Ethereum in
Dude,
2017, kind of when it was at its peak, but like a little bit before it was at its peak.
couldn't you say this every week this year? JD McKissick is what we wanted Antonio Gibson to be.
except for that 1 week where it was that the Thanksgiving week when he scored 3 touchdowns?
Oh yeah, against the Cowboys.
It was the game script, guys. The game script.
Pete, I know you're not going to tout this, but in the spirit of your first 1099, that video that you pulled out this week with like what was the top 10 tips of like all the interviews you did?
Secrets, Joe. I went full
Secrets.
Clickbait.
Nice. I love
Yeah.
that. Just dropped in the chat. Like all things aside, very good video. That video is smashed on your channel, so unsurprisingly.
Yeah, and you guys both make appearances on that. Yeah, that was the guest from my Friday shows. But yeah, it was going through and trying to pull out all of what I thought were the most kind of actionable nuggets